right, Kev, we're back. It's not just insurance, and I think we just switched seats there. What do you think about that?
I'm not loving it.
See, I love it. I feel like the
feel
CEO of
I
Ideal
feel-
Traits.
I feel out of place.
I'm liking it right now. So, anyways,
we might switch in a little bit.
No. Anywho,
Mid podcast.
yeah, right. So this guy I met, literally I've only hung out and met him twice now. Saw him at Farmers Mega in Scottsdale, and then hung out with him in Nashville for Allstate Mega. This guy's an Allstate agent out in Ohio. I already feel like he's my good friend. I don't know if he feels like that for me, but
Dude,
he's
it
just
doesn't feel like I've only met you twice.
Yeah.
Literally about a month ago, right?
Yeah. He's just that kind of guy.
Yeah.
Super successful agent, and has his own podcast. We're super excited he's on. He goes by the name of Beau Vincent. Beau, how we living, man?
Man, I'm living good, blessed. Appreciate you too, having me come on today. And yeah, things are good. Things
For
are
sure.
busy, but busy is good, right?
100%. How do you rank his
Yeah.
setup in the back?
I think it's solid. I mean, he's
Yeah.
got the two Allstate. He's repping Allstate hard, right?
Yeah, I
sure.
know.
That's what you
Here. Turn them off? Should I leave them
No,
on?
no,
I
it's
think they're
perfect.
good.
Now, no one's
Yeah.
going to get confused because
Yeah,
here's the
right?
thing. When I met him at the Farmers Mega Conference, I'm like, when he was trying to tell me he was an Allstate agent, I was like, dude, quit messing with me.
Yeah, he was.
Know what I
He was
mean?
like,
Right. 'Cause
lying.
you were at the Farmers.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then I'm at the Allstate Mega Conference. He tries to scare me while I'm on the treadmill.
dude, I went up and I grabbed him from the back or something like that. But
Yeah.
because
did
I
something
noticed,
crazy.
I recognized him, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I got that goofy looking face, you know?
Yeah. Maybe it's
Tall,
a
lanky
goofy
body.
looking run too.
For sure. Well, dude, thanks so much for being on. We're excited to talk with you.
Likewise.
Let's get to know you more. Okay, so tell us about Beau, how he started in insurance in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. So first off, I've been married 15 years. My wife, Kristen, is way prettier than I. You ever heard that saying, like, outkicked your coverage? Like, I've done that. And I just want to keep it there. Right. So I love her. I love everything about her. She's my dream woman. We have 3 sons, awesome sons, 14, 11, and 6. I was in retail for 13, 15 years, somewhere in that range. And I always wanted to be a business owner. And I actually attempted to do my own coaching or consulting for small businesses. I actually got 3 to 4 projects, I'll say.
Okay.
And I realized, man, this is kind of tough. Maybe I should apply to some consulting agencies. Well, long story short, I was a college dropout with no bachelor's and no master's, and they don't love, uneducated, people that have experience. They want education and,
Right.
and or experience, mostly education to be a consultant. So didn't get any interviews, and as many connections as I had in that world, no interviews. So I said, you know what? I need to really think about it while I'm still employed in retail. And I was a district regional manager. I was in charge of 3 states and had 40, 50 million sales that I oversaw, about 600 employees. And it was great job. Loved it. Right. But it was just a job. And I had dreams of being an entrepreneur and a business owner. And I had attempted some things and I saw that I could do it. So insurance came to me through a LinkedIn post, or I should say a LinkedIn message, right? Recruited me. I'm like, no way. Moved on. Eventually, though, I started to entertain her and this recruiter, and I kind of fell in love with insurance and what it could offer. And I wasn't so sold on it yet, but I went on this trip. Okay. I believe it was Veterans Day, I believe. Okay. I have to check my Facebook history, but it was a couple years before I bought an insurance agency.
Isn't today
And
Veterans Day, by the way?
I was on the fence with
tomorrow.
insurance and about leaving retail. Well, I was in New York City. I was driving on the Bronx Expressway, and you could see, the green signs where they say Bronx 2 miles, whatever, right? New York City,
Yeah.
so many miles. Well, it was dark, and a motorcyclist flew by me, at least 100, like
Ooh.
this, right? It was so fast. And all of a sudden, every car in front of me stopped. And in New York City, when every car on the expressway stops, it's kind of freaky. And they started going to the side of the road. I was like, what is going on? Is there a terrorist attack? Is there, a hurricane? What is going on? So I pull over. The car in front of me goes, I'm like, what's going on? And I'm with my kids, my wife, my mom, my sister, we were visiting my cousin there, we had rented a big SUV, and I get out and they say, did you see that motorcyclist? I said, yeah, I did. And she said, well, he hit my car and he flew like a rocket, like
no.
literally launched. Okay. And I was in footwear retail, by the way. So
Finish line, right?
Yeah, finish line. So we start saying, we need to find this guy, right? So we find this guy. My sister finds and yells, guess where he's at? This is unfortunate, but he's underneath the green sign. He flew from the middle of the highway all the way to the side and hit the green sign and was laying underneath of it. And I went over and I attempted to like check on him and like pray for him. And he died like while I was touching him. Like I could feel his heartbeat going away. His chest, he wasn't breathing. And his heart rate was real faint because I stuck my finger here, but I could see, not good signs on him that he was really injured. And so I looked down and there was no shoes on his feet. His shoes had flew off. And I said to myself, wow, at the end of your life, shoes really don't matter. So it was really impactful for me because I was on the fence with insurance and I realized what it could do for you, because in that moment I thought, I really hope he had the right insurance on his motorcycle with liability, with protection. I hope that he had, life insurance. I hope that he had his life in order, because to leave so abruptly, we could say he was being reckless, but, not everybody goes out to be reckless to die. And it's unfortunate because, that's what happened. And so it really changed my life and helped me realize like insurance is so important. And I'd like to say the only other thing that might've been more important at that time, and I say this all the time, to people that I coach with and consult with, my own agency, is that we're the second most important industry. Number one is medical. So if there was a doctor there, might have been able to save his life, right?
Right.
But since there wasn't, the next most important thing was like, I hope he had his life in order with insurance and leaving a good legacy, not debt and stress and pain at the same time, right? So that's my traumatic story of getting into insurance. So been a blessing since.
Well, listen, I have heard, Beau, a lot of stories about, why they became an insurance agent, and I haven't heard that one before. And
No?
that is really, that's impactful.
Well, I was going to say, Kev,
That's
your big
unbelievable.
thing with where you got to where you're at as a mega agent is you were a huge storyteller. So having something like that in your back pocket is just...
So at that moment, you decide, do you call the recruiter and say, all right, I'm in. Like, I know my purpose here and my passion, and I can help. I can help people, and I can.
Yeah. So I think that
important.
yes, I had a conversation with my wife about it, obviously, and that night, and it was pretty traumatic. And I was like, man, this is all I could think about. So I just couldn't stop thinking about it. So I talked to her, and we decided like this was the time. So I started listening to insurance podcasts and training on the way home, which it's funny because, that I was like, let's see, I'm driving, what is it, like 8 hours, I think, from Ohio to New York City. So on the way home, I started to really like get back into it. So, yeah.
Really cool. And so when you started with Allstate, that must have been a little bit of a change. So this was the first time you owned your own business. I mean, you did a little bit of consulting, but you just jumped right in.
I jumped right in. What's cool is the path that I had was like perfect training for where I wanted to go in business and in life.
Yeah.
And I love that it gave me the opportunity to learn on their dime. As much as I treated it like I owned it, I really was on their dime, right?
Right.
I managed their P&L. I got to work and run their business and make my mistakes with them, with the last employer. So what's cool is that I learned, inventory control, recruiting, hiring, developing people, HR, right? I learned salesmanship, loss prevention, learned all these things within retail over the years that I didn't realize would be so valuable in my own business. So cool. And I also didn't realize it would be so different to say that I treat it like I own it and actually own it. But it really did prepare me. Yeah. And when I went into owning my own business, I treated it like this is the business's money, not mine. And honestly, it's been a life changer for me to think the money that comes in is the business's money. And I can take what I need to, or as much as I want, or as little as I want, but I need to get paid, obviously, but I look at it like this is the business's money, and it's helped me be very successful, because a lot of the failures the business owners have is they think of it as my, me, my dream, my money. You just screwed me. Why did you do that to me? Like, and it's very selfish, right? And a lot of people don't have any space to join in on your dream, because it's always me, my money, my agency, my dream, my business. So it really helped prepare me for, I would say, a very fast, successful launch.
Great background for that. So when was your start date with Allstate?
10/1/2019.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
we just hit 4 years.
4 years. Now, how many staff do you have now?
I have 12 employees plus myself. We don't really count my wife, but yeah, so 14 then if you include me and my wife, but 12 employees today.
Yeah.
7 in sales, in the rest in support and service. So
Right.
what is that? 5 more? Yeah.
Nice.
So, and actually I have a 13th employee. He does social media exclusively right now. So he's part-time, but yeah.
Cool. So a lot of agents, 4 years in, they don't have 13 employees, or maybe they can't even see having that many. They just kind of start with 1 and maybe get to 2. And how quickly did you add your employees?
Yeah. So what's awesome is I interviewed, because of my background, so many people in the beginning. I want to say I launched with like 8 employees, which was huge, by the way, because I had a $700,000 agency, right? So, which is small in insurance terms.
Oh yeah.
So the premium was small when I started out, and it actually came with 0 employees. 0.
Yeah.
The only employee quit because she wanted to retire with the agent who passed away, unfortunately. So I started with nobody, and I had to interview hundreds of people, but I was good at that, right? That was kind of my background. In retail, you have to be so proactive with hiring, because the turnover could be fast, right? So I interviewed a ton of people. I want to say we started with 6, maybe had 8, a couple more people still taking testing, but yeah, we launched and we sold about 1/4 of what we sell today with 8 people. And I was carrying the agency and sales because I just had the heart to win. I said, I don't care what I got to do to win. And if I got to work midnights at Taco Bell to make sure that this agency doesn't go under, I will. I don't care. Yeah. So, yeah. So I started out with that and quickly dwindled down, and then rebuilt, went back down, and then rebuilt. And we didn't really hit a stride. I mean, listen, we grew every year. We were doing amazing things, top of the district, top of the company, but we really started to hit our stride in December of last year. I started a new position, which I call sales assistant, because I was struggling with hiring people off the street without a license. And we were losing people before they became a successful LSP, or we just straight up, they weren't a good LSP fit in general. So yeah, so I created this role, unlicensed role, to hire people that really fit our culture and they can sell. And I hire them and I train them for 3 to 6 months on a sales assistant role, which is mostly telemarketing, but also assisting with welcoming calls, DriveWise enrollment, app enrollment, discount loss prevention, stuff like that. So giving them an opportunity to really, get the feel of what insurance is like, and more than anything, get the feel for me if I think they're going to be a good fit for our agency and our culture, and can they sell, right? Yeah. So I'm really big on, they have to be a culture fit, and they have to want to be a salesperson. So yeah, hope that answers you.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, I mean, sometimes when hiring, it's difficult, and you got to find the right one. A lot of people are going to come out and say like, "Hey, I've got the right fit, and I want to be in sales," But when it really comes down to it, they're not the ones that pick up the call.
No.
They don't want to do it. They're just answering the ad because they like what they saw in it. They like the thought of it, but it might not quite fit their personality, which is really, that's what ideal trait. That's that's what we do, right?
That's what you guys do.
Yeah.
Love it.
No, it's interesting. Like taking a look at your background and where you're at now. What would you say has helped you the most? That like from Finish Line and your past, what has helped you become a successful agency owner?
So when I used to walk into stores, I don't know where I heard it. I didn't hear it from anybody. I just started saying it one day. We love insurance. Or no, I started saying we love shoes, but we love people more. And I just would go into stores and I'd say, hey, we need to show people we love them today. Okay.
People business.
So when I started the insurance agency, it was we love insurance, we love people more. Right. So when I started that and I started saying it, it's something that just has helped our staff and myself portray the, vision that I want our agency to be led in. It's like a filter. Does it show that we love customers more than a sale, more than what we sell to them? And then in return, as a leader, how do I show my staff that they are more important than what they sell? So more important than insurance is people. So yeah, just putting people first, offering out worth and value, knowing that someday it would come back to me. But also if it didn't, it is what it is. Cause being able to celebrate somebody as much as when they come and when they go for a better opportunity, right? To be able to say, you know what, I'm going to miss you and it's going to suck. I really wish you would stay, but I understand you got to leave, and celebrating them. So really kind of putting my, money where my mouth is, and really putting people first has been the success in people over profit, people over processes. And if you caught my Facebook, reel the other day, maybe Jeff, I don't know, Kevin, if we're friends on Facebook, I think we are, but I made a short little thought. And the thought was, great processes don't fix bad people.
Yeah.
Great processes don't fix bad fits, right? It could be a good employee, bad fit.
Right.
But a great process will take a good person and make them great. So knowing that people come before processes, and I had really good people with not the best processes for years. And as I started to dial in all these processes, I had the right people. And then I was able to start to replicate those positions and people because I had the right processes now. So yeah, it started with people, turned into processes. I've always been a pretty good coach. In a leader, I would say, like, you can't really say that you're a good leader, but I would say based on our culture. So here's what's funny. Can a carpenter tell you he's a good carpenter?
Well, they could say it, I guess.
He's got to have the testimonials.
It's based on you though, right? Based on what you think.
Yeah.
But a carpenter will never tell you, I'm a great carpenter. Have you ever seen my miter saw?
You want to see the work.
So we hear a lot of leaders say this, I'm a great leader. I'm a great communicator. I'm a great recruiter. That has zero to do with how great of a leader you are, right? Actually, great leaders should be judged on what they build, just like a carpenter, not based on their skills and their tools. Right. So skills and tools will help add to your leadership. But I could be a horrible communicator and still be a phenomenal leader. Okay. I could. Now it would be a challenge. Yes. Just like I could buy a Harbor Freight miter saw, or I could buy the best saw possible. It would be a challenge to be a great carpenter with subpar tools, but it's possible. I think great people will rise. But those tools do impact the end result. So, but the end result is people, right? How do they develop and how do they grow under your leadership? That's how you should be judged as a leader. And right now, our staff, our two leaders are phenomenal. Sales manager and office manager are so good. And that's how I can say that I feel like I'm doing something right. Mm-hmm.
What are some of the things you do to develop people? Like for those who say, I'm not great at that, Beau.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing that your people are great?
Man, well, it's
Did
Monday, Wednesday. Well, I should also tell you this. We're 100% remote, have been since COVID. So what is that? March of 2020. So, and I was only in my 5th month, by the way. I felt like the world was ending, and so was my business. So, but you know what's funny? When that happened, I'll tell you this. Leaders can earn respect one step at a time, but they can lose it like 15 steps at once, right? They can go all the way back to the bottom of the staircase all in one instance. So when COVID hit, I had this opportunity to live out my mantra, which is now trademarked, Jeff, wink, wink. We love insurance. We love people more. Okay. So I had this opportunity. I could shutter in fear and lay off people and protect myself and my income. Or I could double down and I could add to leads, tell them it's going to be okay. You don't have to worry about your position. And that's what I did, right? So that really like was a huge launch pad for us to live out what I say, right? And being a man of your word or a woman of your word is so important. We don't realize how big that is from a leadership side. So leading people and then being involved with your people. So in order to sell, I believe that you have to be known, liked, and trusted. Jeff, did you hear me speak about this at one of the conferences?
I have, yeah.
So I think it's also very important in leadership. My staff has to know me, know my vision, see my vision. I have a whiteboard right here, and I have a whiteboard on Zoom, right? I like to show them. Seeing is believing, right? Then they have to like me. And it's funny that some people get confused on this. Like, I'm not seeking to be liked, but you have to be likable. Would you agree? Because if you don't like me, it kind of ends there, right? You're like, I hate my freaking boss. It ends there.
It don't matter
right?
if he's good. I just don't like him.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's
You know
just
what
like
I to
selling,
think of?
right? For some people too. Like
Yep.
he's right. The salesperson's right, but I don't like
Yeah.
him. So I ain't going to buy from him.
Yeah.
I trust his results. I know him, know his vision, but I do not. I can't stand the
Yeah.
guy. So I know that they have to like me, which means I can build likability through rapport building. I got to know their family, recreation, their dreams, and then they got to trust me by me living out what I say I do and what I say I'm going to do. Okay. And then helping them achieve their dreams. So that's how our staff grows. And how do I do that? We do it on Zoom Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I join in on a 1 hour Zoom those 3 days. I do one-on-one with my 2 leaders, and my 2 leaders do 2 one-on-ones with every employee every month for training. So we're super, super involved in training. And you want to hear what else?
What
Every
else?
single day, the
Tell
first
us.
30 minutes, they watch Craig Wiggins coaching consulting modules. Because if I tell you that training is important and self-growth is important, but I don't give you the space or the time to do it, then I'm a liar. Okay. So I give them and I carve out the time and I create it for them. I problem solve. This is when you do it. I'm so into personal growth and training that they're not allowed to check emails, voicemails, or anything before they do their training because it's most important. I want you to wake up. I want you to shower, whatever you do, get your coffee and do your training.
So that would be tough for me. So like, I've been in sales for 7
Yeah.
years. So Kevin would tell me, like, I'd be like, oh, Kev, like this guy wants to get signed up first thing in the morning. It's a big account. He wants me to call him right away. So Kev would be like, well, after your training, I'd be like,
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So it's a different thought process, but
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that you won't make the sale. The thing is, people act like, so that person's not going to buy at 9.
no,
but
he
they will
would.
buy at 8:30.
And he or she
So,
probably would appreciate that you're doing, hey, I got this mapped out. I want to develop myself. We do this every morning. Can you be first on my list after the training?
It's true. And you say this. So like, I can't be the best husband if I'm not the best me. I can't be the best father if I'm not the best me.
Right.
I can't be the best leader for my business if I'm not the best version of me. So if I'm not in, like you were running in Nashville and I was working out, right? Because that's important to my life. I do that every day, out of town or not, because I want to be the best version of me. I work with other agencies as a coach or consultant now, thank God. Upwards somewhere around 20 agencies now. I spend 4 to 5 hours role playing a week now, not with
Wow.
my agency. That makes me so much better than I used to. Because guess what? When I go to role play with my own staff now, I'm like, listen to this. So
Right.
Got something new.
it's phenomenal,
Yeah.
right? It's so I believe that the best leaders take care of themselves first.
For
And
sure.
it sounds selfish, but a weaker, lesser version of me doesn't help anybody.
Love that.
You know what? I believe too is some people think that if you're doing great at one thing, then something else has to suffer. And I don't believe that. Like the best version of you working out translates into the best version of you at work and the best version of you at home. Like nothing has to suffer. Like
No.
when you're great at everything. And
Right.
typically when you're sucking, you might suck at
You got your
everything,
mojo
too.
on.
Right.
Yeah.
I say this to my staff all the time. It's hard to be a hard worker if you're not a hard worker.
Yeah.
So it's like a dumb saying, right? It's like if you are not a hard worker, it's going to be extremely hard for you to be a hard worker. Like,
Yeah.
so if you don't work hard at home, you don't work hard at anything. Like, how can I expect you to just be a hard worker at work? Like,
Right.
it's a lifestyle, right? I've learned that some people used to say, do you remember this, Kevin? We used to say work-life balance, got to do work-life balance.
Yeah.
Well, within the world we live in today, especially in business ownership, especially in sales, they need you, right?
Yeah.
They need you. So I call it work-life integration. How do I integrate work into my life without ruining my life? Like ruining the life that I lead with my kids. How, like, it doesn't mean that I integrate work to like, hey son, how are you? And I'm reading text at the same time as talking to him. It's not what I mean. But like this year, I was blessed to take, first time ever, a 2 full week vacation because of my staff. Actually ends up being almost like 17 days. I went to Hilton Head beachfront property with some points,
We got a flight
Marriott
in,
points, and stayed there.
We're about to be in Hilton Head tomorrow.
I love it.
morning.
I love it.
Less than 20
My
So-
flight
hours,
got
yeah.
pushed back, but
Sorry.
So
like-
I tried out 2 weeks and
Yeah.
I just worked a couple hours every morning. Didn't want to take away from the family. But guess what? When I got back, nothing to do. Was already caught up on 2 hours a day. So I was able to get up at 6, do work, be done by 8 to 9 every single day. So it was phenomenal to like figure that out, right? And test this water and say, you know, it's one thing for me to tell you guys, my agency, runs amazing without me. And then like it can, right? But right now it only needs me a couple hours a day. That's the truth. So that's it. So, and it's not even every day because I coach all day Tuesday and all day Thursday now. I
wow.
don't even work in the agency those days. So not at all. Not even at all.
Let me ask you this: like, if we take a deeper dive into the agency, your
Yeah.
sales, referrals, internet leads, mailers, like, what are the percentages?
Yeah. So I don't know if you know this, but because I just for all the listeners, I am a consultant and a coach now. I got God blessed me with both. So I became a coach and a consultant. So it kind of God gave me like, gonna bless me with like having my own business, but also being able to consult like I thought I wanted to do in the first place.
For sure.
So like Kevin said, I'm able to do both great. That's the truth. Just because I don't believe anybody that says you got to pick one or the other. And those are friends with like simple minds. And I challenge them. Like, why do I have to pick one? Because you're used to a job. That's why you have to have one job. Okay. Can't have 2 jobs, but I'm a business owner. I can run 2 businesses. Okay. So I chose to do both and it's a blessing, right? So, I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows that. Like, but what was your question though? I'm sorry.
You're like me. Where like I'm
I
like, I
drilled
gotta
it and I
cover
was like,
this
wait a
real
second.
quick, okay? It's on the top of my mind. I'm gonna get to your question. You
I
got to remind
I
me.
needed to say that.
You got ADD like me, man. I love it.
A little bit and coffee. Coffee and ADD don't mix with it.
Yeah,
Go
right.
together.
Well, you got to have the perfect level amount.
Perfect mix.
I got it down to a T, I think. Listen, I asked you because I feel like people ask this at a lot of conferences, and agents ask me this, but I don't have the credibility to answer this. The amount of business you're doing, like, are you doing a lot of outbound internet leads?
Oh yeah. What was my lead source? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let me
What's
answer
the
that.
high, like percentages if you could break it down as ballpark?
And that's okay. So I'm averaging around. I'm doing this off the top of my head. Used to be 1/3 of my business was referrals. Okay. Used to be. Okay. The reason it's not anymore is because we write a lot more business, right?
Yeah.
So referrals used to average 55 a month. I used to write 150 items. Okay. And it was 55 roughly. That's the number that I had. Cause what I was framing up is that I teach a class on Thursdays for referral partnership training. I don't know if you knew that, but with Daniel, Austin, and I, we teach it. So we took our processes, mixed them together because that was a big part of my business and how I started to grow my business. But I needed internet leads too, right? Take it to the next level. So I would say at this point, if I'm like picturing the numbers in my head, and I think I know what it is, about 25% is one lead vendor right now. But then I have a lot of other things below that. My referrals are probably close to 1/5 of my business on a monthly basis now because it stayed about the same, but I've just layered on more now. We have, SEO and SMO
Right.
marketing going on at the same time, right? We're driving organic, reviews. Then we're driving ads through SMO, and then we have internet leads. So, and I also have my 3 sales assistants spend 75% of their day dialing outbound.
Mm.
So they dial the data leads. I don't buy live transfers. I create them myself because you know why? We sit on Zoom all day like this because we're remote, by the way, and this is how we sit. And then we say, "Hi, Kevin, are you still at 123 Main Street?" They unmute themselves as they're getting close to a transfer so the staff can hear, "I'm about to have a transfer." So then the staff can say, "Hey, Beau, I'm ready. When you're ready, I'm ready." And you know what's so cool about that? You know what a live transfer can't do for you? Can't say, "I'm going to transfer you to Jeff in our office." Can't say that, right? We're going to find a live representative for you somewhere in
Yeah.
America. Hopefully they can take care of you, right?
Right.
So we say, we're able to say, "I'm going to be transferring you over to Beau. He's our insurance expert," whatever, right? He's in our office. I'm looking right at him right now. So it's super cool. And that's how we take such good advantage of the data leads, right? So I hope that answers your question.
No,
Cool.
it does even more. That's good.
So what are your producers average in items, monthly?
Yeah. So right around 35. We've had months much more than that, 40. But I would say right around that 30. When I had a smaller staff, I'll be honest, I'm going to blow some minds here in a second, those that know insurance. But when I had a smaller staff, I think I had 3 people writing 150 items. So 50 items a person.
Wow.
When I started to grow, you know what I didn't grow? And this is intentional. I didn't really grow my lead spend. I spend $6,000 a month right now. Okay. We've written 268 items a month, 250. So it's funny because could I make, I'm looking at, like, here's the thing. I'm still developing them, a lot of the staff, before I layer on $10,000, $20,000 a month. Right. But we're going to get there at some point. But if we can do that on 5,000, I would like to see us, write 500 items on 20,000, with the same staff. So it's all about development. And I talk about giving them food. The food that I'm feeding them is like career development, role playing, growing them, but also giving them the leads that they need and deserve.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds, are they all dependent on the leads, or do you disperse them out equally, or
No,
how do you do that?
no, I used to, in, like I said, some things, like I've said before, some things work for me, but they don't always work for everybody else.
Yeah.
But I have seen in what I've implemented into my agency in the last year or so, we don't do round robins anymore. I'm looking at top producers. We have tiering now.
Yeah.
So my sales manager, senior LSP is tier 1. We had another person can gain tier 1 by the power ranking every month. And then we do tier 2, tier 3. That's who gets referrals. It's because referrals are like gold, right?
Right.
Because I actually can tell you the exact number, what we close year to date on referrals, 56% we close, which is huge, right?
Right.
So when you think about a state like ours, we close, what is it, like 15, 16% in first release, first week. So we're doing 56% close rate, and it's not because of price, right? It's because it's a warm, referral from somebody that trusts us. And our staff is good, but it's because I'm also feeding our best producers, right? The best leads. So when it comes to inbound transfers, our sales assistants will transfer, and that is like a Shark Tank. Grab it. Whoever can grab that. I'm available. I want it, right? Whoever's first on that. And then they also dial anywhere between 120 plus when they're not getting, we have a pyramid, which some agencies have, like, our minimum pyramid is, 2 items at the top. If you don't hit 2 items, you need 8 quotes, household quotes. And then if you don't hit that, you need to be dialing. You need to hit at least 120, 150 calls a day. It's 120 actually, but we're actually looking more now at talk time. So just, that's how we do it and how we keep the process flowing and rolling. It's easy to multiply that then by the amount of business days in the month when we're doing updates twice a month. So
Right. So conversations are more important to you than just the number of calls, unless they're beginning.
Absolutely, dude. Calls, the only reason I want them to call. They know this. I hate it. I hate having them call. I really do. I wish all they did was talk to people that wanted a quote. That's it. Right. So someday that's going to happen. It's just not today. That's not my process today, but it will be someday. Because in the beginning, it was strictly live transfers. Because I learned from some agents spend it, and I spent a ton of money. 33 to 50% of my income went to leads in the beginning. And then I slowly transitioned away and then back, and then referrals started growing, and then I added, and then I got very diverse, right? So that's really the key is diversification, but also the staff. I would love my salespeople to only sell, wouldn't you? I don't want them dialing. I really don't. It takes away from their value. That's why I created the position of sales assistant, is because I'm all about profitability too. Because if I have great profitability, I also care about people. But if I have profitability, I can feed them more money. I can pay them more, keep them around. I can provide more benefits. This year, we were able to offer a matched 401k up to 3%. Started last year. So we offer that now, and we offer full benefits for everybody.
That's awesome.
Health insurance, dental, vision, everything. Full. And I'm not talking cheap crap health. I'm talking about the best insurance I've had since I left the corporate world. So it's
make sure to put all that on your job ad and your career page.
Right.
We're going to make sure that that's done in Ideal Traits correctly, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, it's great
That's
having
awesome.
you on Ideal Traits. That's awesome. Now, a question about the sales assistant. Is it 1-for-1? Is it 1-to-2? How do you work that out?
Yeah, it's 1-to-2 right now. We have 3 for 6, and then a sales manager. So 6 LSPs, sales manager, all licensed, right? So we have 2-to-1 right now ratio.
So is it 4 salespeople, 2 sales assistants?
No, it's 6 salespeople, 3 sales assistants
Okay,
right now,
so you
and then a
have
LSP, a sales manager on top of that.
Okay, so you got 10 in that, and then customer service you had.
Yeah,
have
you know what's
13 or
crazy? I'll
3?
blow your mind there
And
too.
a part-time
We have
social
like
media.
over 5,000 policies, and I only have 1 service person, and she has her own sales assistant also full time.
Wow.
Oh,
So
nice.
we're so efficient because we elected to do something that most people fight. You know why people fight change? Is not because humans tend to look at the negative. We know that, right? Versus the positive. I took on ACS immediately, and I said, you know what? Allstate customer service, I'll take it.
Right.
We'll try it out. Well, it cut our calls down dramatically. It also did cut down some of this customer satisfaction, but at the same time, we've learned to work with it. And we have something that most people don't. We're doing very well keeping up. Do we get voicemails? Yeah. But do we call back every day before the end of the day? Absolutely. So we keep up, and it's a new world we're in, right? I'm investing as many people in the front as I can. And Allstate is investing a lot of money in the back end for us. So I'm going with change because, like I said, people technically look at when we talk about change, people think about, what am I going to lose? Always. What am I going to lose because of this change? I think about, what am I going to gain? What can I gain from this change? If I embrace the change that the company is bringing, they're no dummies. They want to grow their business and retain. So I'm gonna jump on. I'm gonna lead the way. I'll lead this, and I'll figure out how to make it better.
This is giving Kevin chills.
Oh, that's good.
That's what you preach.
Yeah,
Change
I
agent,
think
right?
that I say it often, but there's opportunity and disruption. And so when things are people getting upset and they're all worried about what they're going to do, like that's the moment. That's the time when you can excel, you can take market share. I mean, there's certainly disruption in insurance right now. People are shopping all around, and someone can be their hero, and they're waiting for somebody, and they're interested. And so it's like, now's the time. It's go time.
Right. It is. It is go time. There's so much churning in the market. You got to have the best people. But remember, I said, good people, good processes make great things happen. They really do. Bad processes. If you don't have good processes, and this is what I learned over the years, is like, I had some really good people because I didn't know insurance, right? I knew how to sell. I knew how to build sales teams, knew how to lead people, but I didn't understand fully the sales process of insurance. And as I developed that process over the years, and it's gotten more fine-tuned, right? So I can take good people, good processes, and make great things happen, but I think we have this tendency, Kevin, in insurance specifically, and you guys see this because you're in the recruiting and world, and you get this. We say, Kevin, you're a phenomenal salesperson. I'm just going to throw you in the mix, trial by fire, right? But it's like, I always say this is kind of a dumb analogy, but like, if I was like, Kevin, you work out every day, you run, you're a phenomenal soldier. You're a natural fit to be a soldier. Here's a gun. Let's go to war right now. Doesn't work like that, does it? But we do the
No.
same to our people. We just don't look at it like that. We got to equip our people, train our people, no matter how talented they are. I always say this: why would you not invest 30 to 60 days of training in somebody you think could be so amazing? I just don't get it. Why would you want to screw them in the first 30 days, right? And then the agent blames them. That was the worst hire ever. They told me they were phenomenal. It's like, no, man, you suck.
Well,
And your
also,
process
I feel
sucks.
like a lot of that has to do with what they went through. You know how like
Yeah,
things have changed.
but
Buying
time-
behaviors changed, but then also recruiting has changed. So like I even remember when I first started working at Kevin's office, you know, it's just like we
Well,
got fed to the
times
wolves.
do change. People do change,
Yeah,
right?
it's
Generations
just
are different. People are all different.
Well, when I started in the industry, you know, I was making $7 an hour and I was going through yellow pages and no one helped me out, you know, but you hear those stories and so you can't blame them for thinking that.
Yeah.
But at
I
the
don't
end
blame
of the
them,
day,
but I think that I have to always say, are you the question? Are you the problem?
right,
Can you be honest today? Are you the problem that's holding back your agency,
Right.
your business? Now, this is not just for insurance. This is across the board.
for
Are you the
sure.
problem? Could there be a better way, a better process? Why do so many leaders feel that it's necessary for everybody to go through everything they went through? Why?
Right.
Do I want my kids? So you guys wouldn't know this, but my dad's a drug addict and he bounces around from home to home, place to place. Do I want my kids to learn from like, you know, the experiences I had? No, I'd like them to learn from my experiences. So like all of as many as I can, but I want them to experience certain
good
things on their
comparison.
own. Yes. That are very important. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've had just enough trauma to propel me and drive me, not enough to stop me or hurt me, right? But just enough to propel me to want to be different, right?
Yeah.
So I think our staff, because one of my biggest convictions of a leader, okay, which is a plug on my podcast, is I want to train up leaders to be greater than I in less time. Why do I want them to take 15 years to be where I'm at today? Why? I would rather it be 2 to 3 years. I trained Rachel, my sales manager, for 4 years now. 3 years, I mean. She's phenomenal. Far past what I would have been in 3 years of leadership training. My office manager, 4 years. So they've gotten to learn what I've learned over my career and life in 3 to 4 years.
That's
So
great.
I want that for
Yeah.
people that I work with. Why would I want them to go 15 years like me? Why would I want them to beg for somebody that I didn't have?
So you
When
got
I
this
could
full
offer
book
that.
and they
Yeah.
can just spark note and take all right, here's his success stories and then here's the
Yeah.
stories of where he didn't, he failed. Let's
Yeah.
not go that route.
Is it important for my kids to skin their knees and learn that, hey, I told you not to do that? Yes, it is. Okay. Same way with my staff. If I tell them this is what you should learn from this and they do it, they got to learn the hard way then. But I'd love to shorten that because you know what's funny though? As my trust has grown, their development has progressed faster because they trust what I say. I've been here. I've seen this. This is what I've seen. Now, I use the coaching model: say, see, do, and inspect. I tell them, I say, see, watch me do this. This is why we do it. Now watch me do this. Watch me write up an employee. Watch me give a performance improvement plan. Watch me sell. Okay. Say, that was the see. Now you do it. Let me watch you. And the last step is inspect. Let me inspect and give you coaching. So I told you why I was going to do it. I let you watch me. I watched you. And now I gave you feedback. And it doesn't stop. So if that's the way that I train, it's not just like take my word for it, right? It's pretty in depth of the training, but I would love it if people could learn from my mistakes and those mistakes I've seen in my career, because it does help them, right? And I think trust is what helps them like sometimes take my word for it.
And Beau, switching back
Yeah.
real quick before
Yeah.
I forget, because I know someone would have a question on this. Your staff, you have the tier program. Is the base the same? It's just the amount of leads they get is different. And then when do they get benefits? Is there a probation
Yeah.
period? Is it a certain tier? How would that work?
What do you mean? Like health benefits?
Yeah, you mentioned all the
benefits
benefits
for leads.
401k. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, dude,
leads, like
it's health benefits start at the calendar year every year.
but it
Okay,
like right
so-
when I start and I work at the office. If I started working
Yeah.
for you, you get the benefits day one,
No, you get
First of the
I think
year.
it's
first of the year.
dude. I'd have to double check, but you don't have to earn benefits here.
Gotcha.
Okay. You get the benefits. Okay. As a full-time employee. Okay. And I believe it's 60 days for 401k.
Yeah.
And I think we only do enrollment for health in health insurance. You can enroll immediately. I think it's maybe 30 days. So it's not like a long trial period of like, you have to elevate yourself to earn it.
Gotcha.
Because I have this thought process, like I'm hiring remote employees. I have to give trust day one. They don't have to earn it. They're getting it. Don't lose it. That's the difference. So I'm giving it, praying they don't lose it, believing them,
right,
trusting them that I hired the right person so they get it. You know, they
innocent
get
until proven
access
guilty.
to everything
Right.
as it comes available.
Right. And then the base. So like your top producer right now, is it the same base he or she has?
Oh, no.
Okay, so that will go up too.
No. Yeah. So no, I don't do a base based on, I pay people what they deserve when they come to start to work here. And then I give annual reviews with a raise between 0 to 8%, 10%, you know, so and I have a model that I go off of and I plug in things as I'm filling out, you know, the 20 areas, whatever that I judge them on for the year and give feedback. So yeah, no, I pay bases on what people are worth. Do I have maxes? Kind of like a corporation might have, but the coolest part is if I say I typically pay this, you know, with this experience, but then I think that, you know, Jeff's going to be freaking amazing. Why would I not say, I say this to a lot of agents, like, okay, break it down. If he wants $3,000, what's $3,000 divided by 20/80, which is 40 hours a week for the year, right? So $3,000 divided by 20/80 is $144 an hour. And I'll make it even easier. 8 hours a day is $12. So you're telling me you wouldn't pull $12 out of your wallet to keep a guy like Jeff around?
Kevin?
So I break it down. Yeah, Kevin. No, I'm just
add a couple ones in front of that. Add a couple ones. No, just kidding.
No, but I think that's the thing is like, you know, I want people to know you got my trust day one. Just don't break it because you're remote and there's a little bit less of a, I would say, opportunity to fail consistently in that because if you're in person, we can work side by side a little bit easier, right? I can see what the habits are. I can see your body language more often. I can hear the, right?
Yeah.
Can't hear that on Zoom as much, right?
Yeah. Now listen, we only got a couple minutes left, but I got a question. You know, you also said, you talked about inspect, right? See, do, inspect. Now, when you inspect people and they're not doing what either they said they're going to do or you had an agreement with they're going to do something and they don't do it. And a lot of people, they actually don't like to be held accountable to that, you know. Then all of a sudden they're like, why? You know, how do you handle that? Instead of them thinking like, man, Beau's being mean. It's like, well, no, you said you're going to do it.
Well, first and foremost, I remove all emotion. Okay. 1, remove emotion. 2, stick to the facts. I never tell anybody. Okay. I shouldn't say never. Very, very, very rarely do I say, Kevin, you don't care. I don't think you care. How am I supposed to know what your heart is if you don't tell me? How can I judge why you're doing your actions? Because here's the truth. Do I think that some people like my dad want to be a drug addict, or are they addicted to the process and what it provides? So they may be doing things, but at the end of the day, they may be praying and saying, God, I don't want to be like this. I care.
That's true.
So I don't judge their actions and tell them why. I don't say, you don't care. I don't say stuff like that. So I remove that. I try to remove absolutes. I don't say things like, Kevin, you always do this. You never do this. Okay. And then I live by my 3 steps to being a better coach. Okay. 1 is teach it, lead it, and expect it. So the teach it side is that say, see, do, and inspect, right? The lead it side is I got to be a good leader, or I got to have a person in the position. So if I'm no longer the sales manager in my agency, I got to have a sales manager that leads by example. When they say, we don't jump off the phone and gather info and then quote it and email it. We don't do that, but so they can't do it. Right. So we eliminate the excuse of Rachel doesn't do it.
Right.
We eliminate the excuse that you haven't trained me, because we train them, we get their agreement, right? Like you said, then we lead by example. And then we say, if I teach it, if we lead it, I have to expect it. I want to be a man of my word. Okay. So if I sit somebody down unemotionally, and quite frankly, I say things like, Kevin, I just want you to know, I really want you around. I want to start out with that. We've invested a lot of time and effort into you because we believe in you. I
Yeah.
want to start out like that. Okay. The reason that I'm speaking to you today and I'm not letting you go immediately, it's because I care about you. We've put together a performance improvement plan because of these things. Okay. So we want you to improve instead of just a straight up write up or a term.
Right.
So we've put things into play. And I think when you remove emotion, like, yes, I used to have people say to me, Beau, I can never tell when you're mad. It's like, because I'm not. It's not personal. You spit in my face, you slap me, you call my wife a name, that might be personal, but because you quote unquote, didn't do the process right, you left your desk for an hour, didn't clock out. I don't think that's a personal attack on me.
Right.
So I'm not going to take it personal.
Good.
So, and like I said, it's not my money, it's the business's money. So I've been able to emotionally detach myself from things like that.
Yeah.
Because if I do, I become too emotional. I want to grab people and say, hey, wasting my money. You're stealing my money.
Oh, you're scaring me, Beau.
What's that?
Yeah.
I said you're scaring me.
Yeah. I mean, I could be scary, but that's
Never
the thing,
seen
I
you
don't
like
wanna
that.
be. I don't want to be scary.
No, this is really good. In we at Ideal Traits, exact same thing. I mean, we have training every single morning at
It's
8:30.
awesome.
We have sales training every day.
We might call you
like-
on.
It's like you only
would
do
love it.
training on the days you want to win, right? So we totally agree with that. It was awesome having you on. Really
Yeah, dude.
appreciate your insight and being able to help others, being
Such
an
a-
inspiration.
Such a pleasure because, my camera goes down. I go from a sweet view to
There were some
literally
fumbles there.
This is my back monitor that has a camera on it. So thank you for being flexible with me.
No
I know it
problem.
won't look as good, but hopefully my mic sounded good the
It
whole time.
was
Sounds
totally
Which is all that
fine.
really
It's all
matters.
good.
So I do want to add one thing. I really appreciate what you guys are doing. I love that you have a podcast. I love that you run, a business at the same time of helping others. Your business is based on helping others, which is great. And then you're providing value through a podcast. I know how hard it can be
Yeah.
to really put this all together. And I love what you're doing. I admire it. And I know from what it takes to do it. I love it, admire it, love what you're doing. And thank you for bringing me on, that you would see that I would have value that I could add to your listeners. It means a lot to me because I've always lived by, if I could be a man of worth, then I will. I'd rather be a man of worth than a man of success. So I hope I added worth to you and your listeners today. I really appreciate that.
You did great. Well, we appreciate you. Will you take care?
You
Thanks
too.
again.
Thank you,
I'm gonna
Beau.
fix this
Appreciate
camera. Hey,
Yeah.
thank you. I will see you soon. I'm bringing on a new co-host for season 2 of The Conviction of a Leader because you know what I realized? It's hard to speak to myself, and I love talking to other people.
Yeah.
So I love what you guys got going on, and I want to copy it. So
Oh,
you
cool.
know him, and I'm not going to release his name yet, but I want to just get the buzz going. But he's a guy in the industry who has a phenomenal personality. He lines up ethically with me and loves leaders, loves to be a student like me in leadership. So look forward to, putting out some more content of worth and just like you guys.
That's cool.
Well, you heard it here. Go connect with Beau.
Awesome.
He's a
Yep.
great dude. Thanks, Beau.
All right,
Appreciate
thanks,
you
Beau.
today.
Have
Thank
a
you.
good one.
Yeah.
Thank you both.
Bye.
Bye-bye.